So this video is for those of you who are looking to make a decision about a sum of money, either for your retirement or for savings or somewhere where you're going to need to draw money from the account. And so I want to go through a very simple exercise with you here to explain the difference between market-based returns and average rates of returns. Wall Street likes to talk about average rates of returns on the indexes in the market and on various securities. But what does that really mean? So this is a very simple exercise, but I think very powerful. If we had $100,000 to invest somewhere, and the first year we were able to earn 100% interest on our money, it'd be great to find something like that, wouldn't it? We would find a balance of $200,000 at the end of the first year. But in the second year, if we lost 50%, if our investment was down 50%, we would be back to our original 100. And if I asked 10 people in the room what the average rate of return on this investment would be, I think 9 of them would say 0. But the math says something different, because in year 1, you made 100%, then you lost 50% in year 2. 100 minus 50 is 50, and you had the investment for 2 years. 50 divided by 2 gives you an average rate of return of 25%. What would your investment look like if you really did get 25% for 2 years in a row? Your $100,000 would be worth $156,250. That's a far cry from the 100 that it is actually worth. So obviously, it makes a difference in terms of how average rates of returns work. Now I want to go to comparing two strategies. So strategy 1, we're going to use returns based on the S&P 500. And strategy 2, we're going to just use a simple 2.7% compound annual interest rate. So this is interest being credited to principal, and this is the ups and downs of the stock market. Now, on the market side, the average rate of return is 5.68, and on the interest side, obviously, it's 2.7. If I said I've got one investment that averages 5.68% and another one that averages 2.7, and I asked 10 people in the room which one they wanted, my guess would be all 10 would say I want the one that pays 5.68%. But let's take a look at that if in real terms and in real time, if that's what happened and you needed to withdraw money from an account. So in both cases, this ribbon separates two columns of numbers where we're comparing two strategies. So if we had $300,000, for example, to invest somewhere, and we wanted to take 5% out of that investment to live on, that turns out to be $15,000, and we're going to ignore the fact that we may have to pay taxes on that for now. We just want to know what it looks like taking $15,000 out. If we look at the S&P going back to 2000 through 2020, here are the returns. And if you simply add all of these returns up and divide by 20, your average rate of return is 5.6%. Here we have another account, fixed account, earning 2.7% every year for 20 years, and we're going to withdraw the same $15,000 from those two accounts. Let's take a look at where we end up. You can see here on the left, which is the market-based 5.68 average rate of return, that we would run out of money in year 19, and in year 19, we wouldn't even be able to take our whole $15,000 out. We'd only be able to take $13,454, whereas on the interest-bearing side, we got 2.7% interest, and we took all of this money out. $15,000 for 20 years, by the way, is our original $300,000. You would then have $109,593 left, and yet this has a small average rate of return compared to this one, 2.7 to 5.68. And so what's that tell us? It tells us that the average rates of return are really meaningless when you're withdrawing money from your account. If we weren't taking any money from either of these accounts, you're going to see that and I'll show you that, you're going to see that the average rate of return really doesn't matter, because if I put a 0 here, where we're not going to withdraw anything, then at the end of, if we go to the 20th year, the market-based account is going to have $670,000 in it, and the interest-bearing account is going to have $511,000. So if you're not taking income, it's okay to be invested in a market that this S&P series of numbers is really not even that volatile. There's out of 20 years, there's only 5 negative years. Tough when they start at the beginning like this, but on a simple interest-bearing portfolio, you can see that when you do have to start taking money out, you have zero in the market and 109,000 for compound interest. So I thought this was worth taking a peek at, and I hope this helps you make a decision in terms of what you might want to do. This is Phil Gallant with the Optimist Group. Enjoy your day.